Our top stories this hour. First, the father and now the brother of a 16-year-old girl who was killed last December has been charged with murder. The girl was found strangled in the family's home near Toronto last December. We've looked into this story before with Umbereen Inayet. She's a social worker in Toronto who wrote a play about abuse in the South Asian community. So, Umbereen, nice to have you back here to talk about what is clearly a difficult issue in the South Asian community. Can you tell us a little bit about the reaction that's going on right now to these new charges?
Well, I think people are definitely outraged and saddened. If you think that they're surprised, I would say no, especially for myself, because when you think about family violence, it doesn't often happen solely without people in the family witnessing it, either abuse or either in the form of actually seeing it happen growing up. And when that happens, you tend to internalize that violence, and that can result with either growing up repudiating it or actually perpetuating it, which actually continues the cycle of violence.
Many of Aqsa's friends say that some of the trouble that she was having with her family was because she wouldn't wear hijab, she wouldn't wear traditional Muslim dress. Why do you think that would be such a key source of tension?
I'm not sure if that was the only issue. There could have been a lot of other issues that was going on that might have contributed to that rage. But I think what it is has to do with newcomer stress, but also has to do with something called family honor and reputation, which is a concept that I have heard of in my research doing Mary Kahani, my story with my colleague Marian Punja, that actually does end up silencing women. And it isn't something that I've only seen within my own culture. I've seen it in other cultures with women coming and telling me that, you know what, I didn't tell my story because I was afraid of what other people would think, and in the North American context, what we would call airing your dirty laundry.
You know what's interesting about this too is that at first the father was charged and now her brother has been charged as well. The father clearly of an older generation, perhaps with more traditional conservative values. We don't know exactly, but the brother has now been charged. He's younger. He's about 27 years old. So do you see some of the problems that sometimes get passed on through the generations, that we sometimes may believe that they exist with older generations and not with newer generations who have had more time in Canada?
Definitely, and that goes back to what I spoke about before, was perpetuating the cycle of violence. When you witness violence growing up, no matter where you are in Canada or anywhere around the world, you can tend to repeat that actions from happening. Either you can go towards it, where you perpetuate the violence, or you completely repudiate it, where you say, I don't want to have anything to do with this. And it's actually a concept that's seen globally when you witness accounts of violence growing up.
Police are calling this an honor killing. They're basing the case on that this is an honor killing. What exactly could that mean?
Honor killing, what it actually means is being killed for the reason of honor. And honor can mean very different things for very different people. That's the thing about it, is that it's very subjective, and honor definitely has to do with family reputation. It has to do with various religious factors that go with honor. But again, it's something that's very individually based, and it depends on what you define as honor and where you come from with that term.
You know, this, of course, is an absolute extreme case, so we're not at all trying to suggest that this is going on in all families, of course not. But what kind of message do you think this sends to girls who are struggling with maybe some traditional values that their families have and just trying to fit in with modern Canadian society?
I mean, I definitely think it might instill some fear in people who have also witnessed abuse growing up in the home, and the whole dynamics of power that are there. But hopefully what it'll do is start to get people communicating more openly with their parents to say that, you know what.
That's probably the number one problem, right, is that people just won't speak out about this.
Yeah, that definitely is a problem, and it can be because you're afraid of either making your parents unhappy or making your friends unhappy and making yourself unhappy. So hopefully this will foster some open dialogue, not only within the youth, but within other members in the community, to say, like, let's start a new campaign or movement to stop things like happening in the first place. So hopefully that's what will happen from this incident.
Umbereen, good to speak to you again. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me.